Hi, Rich. I'm Christy. Well, a good friend of mine, early childhood friend, is has been a field biologist for the last few years. Travels the world. She's been to both poles. Antarctica, Alaska, all over South America, islands, Palau, Hawaii, and the Falkland Islands. When she was in the Falkland Islands, she took my music there. She contacted me. She's like, Christy, the folks here are so appreciative of the arts, especially music, and they actually have scholarship programs to get international artists to come to the Falkland Islands. And so she's telling me about this. Meanwhile, she started seeing a guy in the Falkland Islands, and he really loved my music too. And so I'm looking into the whole sponsorship thing. And the day that I started looking into it to apply, it turns out to be the last day that you could apply for this year. So in the process, though, of looking over the application process, I discover that my cat's making noises. Sorry. That is the last day of the year. Did I just say that's the last day of the year that I could apply? So in the process then of just digging deeper, okay, what's this application process like? What do I need? And I needed to have a sponsor who lived on the island, who, not a financial sponsor, they call it a sponsor, but this person's role was actually to be your tour manager, basically. So they set up where you'd be sleeping, where you'd be playing, and all the logistics, the travel of your trip. So Rachel's boyfriend, Alistair, offered to do that, but as I was looking into it, I'm thinking, this is, I do tour management for myself here in the U.S., and this is a rather specialized job and a whole lot more work than most people realize it is. So I start digging deeper. Other artists have gone to the Falkland Islands before. How did they get there? Who were their sponsors? And a pattern emerged. There's a band on the Falkland Islands called the Fighting Pigs, and basically they are the premier band in the islands, and they had sponsored almost every single international artist who had gone to the Falkland Islands. So I'm looking into it more, just their history as a band, and mad respect. This story just kind of, sorry for the noise. This story just kind of sums up, their rock and roll position. They, some years back, they got fed up with the venue taking too much, basically, they'd pack a venue, and they'd leave, rather than having money in their pockets, they'd leave owing a bar tab, and it just wasn't right, and they decided to stick it to the man, and they built their own music venue called The Trowel, The Trowel, Fighting Pigs. I love it. And The Trowel quickly became the premier music venue in the Falkland Islands, so I love it. Total rock and roll attitude. If somebody's doing wrong by you, just bypass them and make a new way. Stick it to the man. So I reached out to Pete King, who is the drummer in the Fighting Pigs, and we've been building a relationship, and he is not only my sponsor for my my tour to the Falkland Islands, but he's also, because I was too late, I was late applying for the scholarship. We just bypassed that altogether, but he has raised the funds from, other business people and patrons of the arts in the Falklands to pay for my tour. So when I go there, I will be, of course, performing at the Trowel. And the Fighting Pigs are going to be my backing band for a number of my performances. I'll be doing some performances at resorts, some workshops and lessons at schools, voice lessons, songwriting lessons, probably a little bit of mentorship and just telling them about my path as a singer-songwriter and being a full-time artist and what that's been like. And the idea for the whole thing came about, I guess, because Rachel said something to me. And it had always kind of been a dream of mine to take my music internationally, too. And that actually stems from something that happened a little bit earlier in my story. In the summer between my junior and senior year of high school, I went to France with my sister. She was a college student. She's my older sister. She was double majoring, and French was one of her double majors. She talked our parents into letting the two of us go there with her, you know, her class, just the two of us. And we, for about 4 weeks, took intense French classes, and then for another 2 weeks, the two of us traveled around France and Spain, just the two of us together with Eurail passes. The time that we were in France at the university studying, there was one night in particular. I'd borrowed this young French kid who was really generous, had 2 guitars with him, and he let me borrow one. And up to that point, I had written music, and I had certainly performed too, but I had not done a whole lot of performing my own original songs where I'm accompanying myself while I'm singing, my own melody, my own lyrics. And my sister had given me a handful of poems about the time that we rolled in to France, and said it was okay for me to put them to music if I wanted. And one of her poems in particular really spoke to me. So, this one night, there I am in my dorm, it's like midnight, and I get the itch. I have this melody, and this song comes together, and it's giving me the shivers. And I feel it, and it's amazing, and it feels good, and I couldn't wait. I had to share it with Shelley. So I go across the hall, I knock on her door. She's bleary-eyed, but willing, and I go in with my guitar, and I played it for her, and she was wowed, and she's like, oh, Christy, you gotta play it, for Simone and Felipe. I'll be right back. Let me go get them. So she comes back with not just Simone and Felipe, but Alex, Maria, and, 10 other of our closest friends from around the world who were all, staying in this dorm together, taking classes together. And now I'm nervous because this is a new song and I've never played it, and there's all these people now, and I'm nervous. And I close my eyes and I just go into the song. Just went right into that soul, the heart, the core of that story and that place and that emotion. And I brought it out and I put it into the room, and I lost myself. And when it was finished and I opened my eyes, and that essence of energy just hung in the room, there was a long silence, and then everyone started clapping. Oh, and it wasn't just like the 15 people. Now there were 20 people packed into the room who'd sneaked in, and another 10, 15, 20 out in the hall who had heard from their rooms and just come to listen. And that was it. I was hooked. So since then, I've always wanted to take my music back into the international arena and get back to that place of using my music to connect with people in other cultures and other countries. Because it's an exciting thing for me. I love travel. I love the exotic component of people from places that I've never been to or that I don't fully understand, and their art and their perspectives. And music is a conduit that can bring us all together. And I love that about being a musician. It's a gift to me to be able to do that.